Right on cue, actually. That's perfect.
All rise. For the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first up, the good news. From the high school, Sherry Miller. I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Voorhees and his tech classes for the artful addition to their hallway. So creative and well thought out. Take a walk down the music tech wing and check it out. You will be happy you did. From the middle school, Addison Marino, the 5th and 6th grade English as a new language class filled and followed March Mammal Madness brackets. They chose the winners from 64 animals, hoping for a victory by either narwhal, puma, or polar bear. Along the way, they learned about habitats, traits, animal actions, and how to describe animals. From Robert Morse, Stacy Jones. A huge thank you to Mark for the beautiful landscaping outdoors and going above and beyond in making our school shine bright. There's plenty more good news, so please, if you have the opportunity, get on there and take a look at it. Let's see here, up next, I believe we have Mr. Smith, who will be introducing our Board of Education candidates, who will each have something to say.
Thank you. So next Tuesday is board election day, and budget vote, we have 2 candidates running, one incumbent, Ches Roll. Let him speak first, and then we have Dan Schmidt is running as well. So Ches, would like just to speak for a couple minutes on why you want to serve and all that.
So I want to continue service just because I'm for the kids again, and I've been learning a lot since I've been on this board, and I think I added value being on the board. So I would like to continue if that's possible. And thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ches. Yeah. And running for a term is Dan Schmidt. Dan's going to offer a few words as well. Dan?
Should I?
Whatever you like, sure.
Okay. All right. Well, first thing I want to say is it's an honor to be here. I think of a lot of who I am is because of the investment that people have made in my life over the years, and so a lot of who I am is a direct result of investment. And so I want to thank Mr. John Marucci and Mr. Smith and all of you for allowing me to be here to speak for just a moment. I've got some things written down and I just want to share them with you. So for my wife and I, it started about 18 years ago. Our boys were 3 and 5. And we were coming from Binghamton. I was a youth pastor for about 12 years, had a heart to, and still do, invest into students. But for us, now we've got 2 little guys that are about to come into the school system. And so it mattered when it comes to who's gonna be investing into our boys over the next 18, 20 years. And so what we did, before we were ever pastors here, I'm the pastor of the Assemblies of God Church here in town for 18 years. We made an appointment with Mr. Kessler and got a tour of the school, spent about 20 minutes with him, asked him questions, got to meet some of the other teachers that were in the building. And it didn't take us long to realize, you know what, if we have the opportunity, we're going to come here because of this, really the schools, right? And the community that we were about to engage in. And so, much of who gathered, just thinking about that, thinking about us coming and then us engaging into the school system, thinking about John Kennedy, the middle school, the high school, much of who Gavin and Garrett are really a direct result of many people pouring into their lives. And I was thinking about it today, like how many people have invested into Gavin and Garrett? Like starting from pre-K, Garrett started at pre-K, Gavin started at kindergarten. And just thinking about the amount of people, it was probably, a low number is probably 50, maybe the high number would be 100. And so you think about all those interactions throughout their lifetime being so impressionable, from teachers to coaches. I'm thinking about football, wrestling, basketball, baseball, that was our influence. art teachers and going to the art shows, music teachers, grade level teachers from K to 12, specialized teachers. Gavin, he had an issue with reading, and so he was pulled out of the class, and after a couple of years, he was exceeding the reading level that he was supposed to be at. I asked Gavin or Garrett, who are some of the teachers that really stand out to you? Coaches and teachers, and he mentioned Coach Briggs, Coach Veltz, Coach Rick Stewart, Coach Voorhees. I'm going to pronounce some of these names wrong. Mr. Weicher, am I saying that right? Weicher, okay, thanks for the grace. Mr. Kabbalah, there's one name on here I'm not going to attempt, but Mrs. Fix. There's so many that we really can't name them all. And so when it comes to why I'm standing here, it really comes down to investment. The community's poured into, has partnered with Shannon and I for almost 20 years. And I feel like now it's my time to give back. When Garrett graduated, I thought, you know what, we're a wrestling family. And John, you're one of the, and John, were two people that invested into Gavin and Garrett. And when we came here almost 20 years ago, thinking about the idea of now giving back. So our boys have graduated, and now it's our turn to give back. So I became a wrestling referee, thinking, how can I give back to the community? And it turns out that scope goes beyond Batavia, but then the thought was, how do I invest my life and my experience and my leadership into my community? And so I approached John Marucci a few months back, maybe 8 months ago, and said, what does this process look like? And so when it began, I jumped in, and so here I am. So I'm all in and willing to take my leadership experience and pour into the district. I honestly don't come with an agenda other than to invest into the community. Maybe if there was 1,000 board candidates, 998 would have an agenda. I just come with saying, here I am, you've got a great leadership team here. How can I be part of that? So 2 boys, I'm almost done. 2 boys recently graduated from Batavia High School, and now I have more time on my hands, and I would like to make a significant impact in the community that I live in by serving. I come with a heart to invest. I feel like if we win at the educational level, we win everywhere, right, in the community. If we can raise the bar there, then we're raising the bar of our community. So in my heart, I'm dedicated to invest into the students, helping them to create wins, to support the teachers and the administration, thinking about how can we empower them to make a significant impact, and also a desire to strengthen the community, because if we have a strong school system, then we have a strong community. And I really feel like they go hand in hand, because eventually they're going to be standing where I am or sitting where you are, making really great investments because of the investments we made. Thank you for the opportunity to speak for a moment. It really is an honor. Thank you for letting me stand here as a candidate. And if I do get voted in, I will do my best to serve our community well. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Schmidt. All right, Mr. Smith, you're up again.
Thank you.
Budget hearing presentation by Superintendent Smith.
So I want to begin by thanking the board for your work since January. We've been working on the budget since January. I want to thank Andy, especially for his leadership, and Molly and Tricia for their support as well. Pleased and proud to present the budget for the 25-26 school year coming up. So we always begin with why we're here. The budget is designed to support our mission and vision of the school district, as you have seen in every single presentation, so that has not changed. Also, it's designed to fully support our strategic plan, which has been in effect for the past 3 years. Those are 4 pillars which we have around the school. You see them on all the documents, all the newsletters. The budget is designed to support all 4 of those. So I've done budget presentations since 2012. I always like to show a picture of a teeter totter. And I always go back to when we were 5 or 6 or 7, the goal, the cool kind of thing was to kind of balance that teeter-totter so it's even, right? So I always look at the teeter-totter as the goal is to balance the needs of our students with the needs of our community. And every budget we have is designed to get the teeter-totter to be nice and balanced and even, supporting our students, while also recognizing the needs of our taxpayers and families, homeowners, and recognizing the board role as good fiscal stewards. So the key budget guidelines, again, you've seen this since January, to meet all the mandates, health and safety, legal expectations, fulfill all of our contractual obligations, support all the programs, pre-K through 12. You heard Dan speak about how his students did well here, so we want to make sure we have that same expectation moving forward. Identify look at alternative funding sources. A couple board members have visited our schools this year to see our SEL programs in action. Those were identified through alternative funding sources. We have developed a long-term financial plan, so that budget also supports that. And also to keep in mind the tax levy, which is 2.22, to only have a simple majority vote, not a supermajority. So some factors that you've seen, health rates have increased to 12%. We continue to have students outplaced in special education. We have 8 retirees. We factored their costs in. We did a deep analysis to identify needs. So there's some savings there. Transportation contracts with special ed. We were cautious, as you heard in past board workshops, to be cautious with the federal grant. As Kevin can speak to, it's been a bit of a roller coaster in terms of trying to deal with the federal grant funding. So we built in some safety nets in case we should lose that. ERS has gone up, and we also, to support our technology, it was almost a wash. We dropped the postal service and brought an IT person there as well. So those were those factors this year. Key budget points: maintain or enhance our current educational offerings. Extracurricular activities, I've said this last year, can't imagine school without a football team, without a marching band, without mock trial, without the show, all those things that are the lifeblood of our school, so we want to have those pieces there as well. Our instructional resources and supports to our students. SEL services, again, I know Alexander and Corinne visited a couple of classrooms this past spring, saw some of them in action, they were excited about that, so that's been well received. Stay within the tax cap. We saw earlier to align to our strategic plan, and then also be careful with the possible loss of federal funding. So some stats there. There's our current enrollment, broken down by pre-K, K1, 2, 4, 5, 8, and then 9, 12. Average class sizes, around 20 or so. And we do have the community eligible provision for lunches next year. There's our student demographics, picture that I love taking kids on a radio station. So there's my drama group I took in the spring. But there's our demographics of our student makeup. Here's our staffing. Broken down, obviously our largest minors, just about more than half of our staff are made up of teachers. So I mentioned this before. What are those pieces that are non-mandated? Obviously, I have a picture there of the tennis team. We don't have to have a tennis team in our school. So those are the pieces that we're proud to have. Kindergarten actually is not mandated. EPK, K-12 art, K-5 music, instrumental lessons, school plays and musicals, which as I said before, has been a big part of that. Social workers, we have, as we've seen in past budgets, we have brought in the social workers to the general fund, so we're less reliant on grants. Our close-up Washington, D.C. trip, girls flag football, there's more AP courses, GCC, extracurriculars, smaller class sizes, summer school, security aids, SROs are not on there. Lots of offerings for our students that this budget will continue to support. So there's the proposed budget, just over $63 million, increase of about 5%. The corresponding tax levy is just over $20 million. The tax cap is 2.22, and we're going to the cap of 2.22. And the CPI, we're just under the CPI of 2.95. Again, the tax cap, this is more or less of a summary. It's been in effect for about the last 12, 13 years. It's commonly known as a 2% tax cap. It's never quite 2%, the formula for that. we arrived at 2.22 here in Batavia for our tax cap. There's a budget summary. There's the general fund budget of $63 million. The budget increase is just over $3 million. Budget to budget increase is 5%, tax levy, and there's all the supporting numbers, the tax levy increase and the percentage there. So again, we're going to the cap to secure revenue while again being fiscally responsible and also maintaining our programming. Every year, schools can engage in a capital outlay project because every year since I've been here, it's at about 89% aid ratio, strictly for every dollar we spend, we get 89 cents back. But we have to show that, and what the B&G team, the building and grounds team have identified it is a HVAC at the high school, and also a front signboard replacement at the high school as well. Anything else to add to that, Andy?
They're just replacing some outdated small air conditioning units that need to be replaced, and then the front signboard is getting upgraded to be for better public communication.
Another way to look at the budget, this is the revenue piece, 24-25 versus 25-26. The 3 or 4 main sources, our state aid has increased by 7.52% from year to year, budgeted versus proposed. Property taxes, we've gone all the way at 2.22%. Andy's made some adjustments to our fund balance and reserves in line with our financial plan. Other revenue can be rentals, sale of property, that type of thing. And the total revenue is $63 million right here, which of course matches the amount of the budget, which is what you want, so the budget is balanced. Here are the appropriations. I always say every year, the largest, you want to see the largest, or the largest, well, one of the largest in construction. Transportation, as you've seen there, has gone up. But second to that is instruction. Employee benefits have also gone up as well. But we want the majority of our fund is built with instruction. Interfund transfers, Andy has explained that. That has to do with the capital project. Can you give more detail on that, Andy?
Yeah, in order to stabilize our tax cap calculation, we wanted to do a local contribution to our capital project, which will do 2 things. It will defer any debt, any interest borrowing that we would incur as a result of that capital project, so we're lowering the amount we would borrow, but it also helps level our exemption that's used during the tax cap calculation. So that allows us to go up to that 2.22% for this year.
And there's an asterisk there explaining the transportation contract. We're engaged in a 5-year contract for transportation. Tax levy, here's some historical background. The 3-year average is about 1.83%, 5 years 1.3, 8 years 1.47, and there's the dollar amount there, the corresponding dollar amounts over the last 18 years or so. Estimated full value tax rates. This assumes no change in assessed value. The projected full value tax increase is 0.349 per 1,000. And there's some sample stacks there for home value, $200,000, $69.80 increase. For $100,000, half that. So they're estimated. These are estimated. We won't know that till probably August or so, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
2 ballot propositions, the budget as I just walked you through, and then we have our two board member seats. We have incumbent Ches Roll, and then Dan Schmidt is running for his first term. And any questions or comments? Voting is next Tuesday from 11 to 8 at Robert Morris and the high school, depending which side of Main Street you live on. Details are in the budget book, or the budget book being sent home and on the website. The questions from the public or from the board on the budget to be voted on next Tuesday. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Doesn't look like there's any public to be heard relating to the budget.
You just need a motion to
Yeah,
close.
yeah. So I'm going to need a motion to close the public budget hearing and proceed with the regular meeting. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Ms. Lindsay, could I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Bowman? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And I can see there's no public here to be heard. Next up, Genesee Valley BOCES update from Mr. Kevin McDonald, the superintendent.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Nice to see everybody. You know, I come to board meetings and year after year, you see a lot of the same members. That consistency is really nice to see. And, you know, as Jason was up here talking, I just want to commend him on a job well done on the budget presentation. But, you know, when Jason came back home, I think, you can correct me, Jason, because you know, I think he and Matt Calderon are the two most experienced superintendents that sit around the GV BOCES table currently. And so wonderful to have Jason around that table because, you know, we have a very active listserv, and when superintendents are throwing questions out there, Jason always has some perspective on different issues that he's faced both here in Batavia and in his prior role at Lindenville. So we thank him for that leadership among our group. He's very well respected and highly regarded among our colleagues, and for that I'm appreciative of his efforts. He's never afraid to pick up the phone and call and ask a question or have a conversation, and hopefully we can help each other when at all possible. So Jason, thank you for your leadership. For the board, I know that you've got some of my handouts, and we tried to get me, Monday night's a popular night. I think 9 of our districts meet on Monday night, and so when I was on my tour, when, I don't know, it came up at the February, March meeting and Jason got to me, couldn't get here before the BOCES budget vote, but I do want to thank you for your support and voting in favor of the BOCES budget and for our board members. I don't want to spend a lot of time going over it, but I do know you have it in front of you. And as you can see, much like Jason did, I'd like to give a little perspective too, right? He went back over 15 years of your tax levy increase. Our budget this year, our operations budget, which you have in front of you, and they're highlighted on the first page, 3.3 million is up 2.95%. Our lease rental, which is the money we pay districts when we lease space from our districts, is up 2.27%. Our capital budget is pretty much flat. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but the capital budget is related to a project that was done back between 06 and 08. That's our debt service that districts pay for. It was bonded through the Dormitory Authority of the state of New York, and so it's very similar to a mortgage. And that's going to be running out here over the next couple of years. And we're going to talk a little bit, we're in the process of planning another capital project for BOCES. And then you can see the total there at 6.2 million overall and a 2% increase. On the following page, I'd just like to give a 5-year average. You know, it's been, this is my 12th year, and it's been an interesting 12 years. When Jason listed all of the non-mandated services, I flashed back to the GEA years when I was superintendent at Reinhardt, and we had to put every non-mandated thing up there and attach a number to it and say, you know, out of $2.6 million, what can we cut and what can we save? And that was before the levy limit hit. So we were able to kind of balance that with a 5% tax increase in addition to us making a lot of cuts. So got a twitch when I saw him put all those up there because that was some scary times. But in light of that, we really try and manage our finances as tightly as we can. And as you can see, if you look at a 5-year average of all 3 cost centers, the capital has really been a savior for us. We refinanced that back in 2016, saved quite a bit of money. But you can see over the last 5 years, and if you went out 10 years, it would be very similar, pretty close to zero when you look at all 3 cost centers. And I know operations are going to go up because that's salary and benefits and the things that even Jason mentioned in his thing. Health insurance going up 12% this year. But just wanted you to see that over the course of 5 years, the net of all 3 cost centers is just a tad above zero. And then the last page is actually the BOCES, well, the page with numbers on it, is your BOCES aid. It's all our BOCES aid rates for all of our districts. But in Batavia, you're getting 76 cents back on the dollar. Is it a clean, every dollar you spend is 76 cents? It's not. It does get a little bit more complex than that in some areas, but when it comes to your lease rental and when it comes to your capital project, that is 76% or 76 cents on the dollar current year. One of the budget victories, at least in my opinion, and really it benefits BOCES in a way, but the money goes to districts, is career and technical education teachers. Their salary, the aidable portion of their salary has been capped at $30,000. Since, I think, the mid-'80s. We've been working all the time I've been a DS to try and get the legislature to move this up. And finally this year we had some success, and that's going to go up 10 grand a year over the next 3 years. So by the end of these 3 years, the aidable salary of a career and tech teacher is going to be $60,000. So when you look at a district like Batavia that really supports career and tech ed for their kids, I think that's going to turn into some real money for you in terms of an increase in BOCES aid down the road. It's 10 grand a year, so it's incremental. But will certainly help all of our districts in terms of aid. And then finally, our board members who were up for re-election, they were all incumbents. They all got re-elected thanks to you folks. All 22 districts actually voted in favor of the budget, and our board members. And you may know some of these folks here. Norb, longtime BOCES board member. It's going to be his 4th term, 16 years on the Attica board, not currently on the Attica board. Roger Kostecki, this is probably his 3rd term. Roger was a longtime member of the Warsaw Board of Education. Bob DeBrucker, this is going to be his 3rd term as well, longtime board member in Avon. And Christy Crandall being current board vice president in Keshqua in her 3rd term with us. So those are our board members as well. So any questions or thoughts on BOCES budget or our board members? So a couple of things before we get into the celebration. I saved the celebrations for the end that are going on. I mentioned the CTE aid, that's a great thing. Early college COSER. We're one of 3 BOCES that got this up and running by the end of the school year. Different districts handle it differently, but moving forward, if a school district chooses to pay tuition for students taking college courses, we're going to be able to generate BOCES aid on that. GCC is probably the most frequent partner in this work in our region, and we worked with Perry this last semester, and they spent about I don't remember the number, maybe $24,000, and they're going to get about 75% of that back in aid next year. So that's brand new. We just did it with 2 districts here at the end of this semester to make it work, getting that COSER approved. We're excited about that. I talked about the CTE aid, and then the last thing is capital project. The last time we did a capital project was 2006 through 2008. And I'm sure here in Batavia, you don't wait 20 some odd years before you do another capital project. That's been some of the challenges, I think, with the BOCES is that for us to do a capital project, we need the approval of all 22 districts. We may have to do a public vote depending upon if we're going to actually build new space. And in the end, it's the districts that fund it, right? And so finding a way to do that and make it palatable is our goal. So actually at the end of this week, we've got a retreat with superintendents. We've got Bernie Donigan's office coming to talk to all the superintendents about different manners in which it can be financed. There's really 2 major ways. And then we also have our architect, Wendell Architects and Engineers, coming to talk to the superintendents about our building condition study. Been 10 years since our last one, so we've got some things we need to do that are of critical nature that we need to get done. We need some safety security upgrades, we need a couple of lab spaces, so we're going to be talking to superintendents over at the end of the week this week and really start earnest in planning over the course of the next 8 months. And with any luck, I'll be back here maybe over the spring months with our bond council talking to the board about different ways it might be financed. So more to come on future capital project planning. Any questions on any of that? I know I'm talking fast. Lastly, just celebrate some successes. We appreciate the support in special ed, alternative ed, and in our career and tech program. And just wanted to share a few success stories with you that we gave you in your packet. Miranda being very special, has been with BOCES for a number of years in our intensive therapeutic program. Really blossomed into a wonderful young woman. She's a leader, she's going to graduate this year, and we're excited in about a month to see her across the stage, across the street at our Batavia Academy graduation. But really done a nice job, I'd like to share those successes with you. And then some of the other successes, National Technical Honor Society, technical endorsement. This is a challenging time of year because they're just starting to find out if they're getting those awards. So some of these are a year old, and the new ones are just now being recognized. So I apologize for that, but it's just the timing of when we recognize our students. National Technical Honor Society, nice representation. Technical endorsement. When you look at Portrait of a Graduate, and we look at moving New York State to 1 diploma, these are the types of things you're going to see. Technical endorsement, seal of civic readiness, those types of things will be seals on a diploma, which is a 1 diploma. So a lot of success of Batavia kids achieving that technical endorsement, in which attendance, grades, and performance assessments is what allows them to get that technical endorsement. On the second page, you see the Finger Lakes Youth Apprenticeship, affectionately referred to as FLY-AP. You know, a lot of times, probably you do it in Batavia, if a student gets a scholarship for a sport or gets recruited by a college, you do a little thing, they sit at the table and they put the hat on their head. This is where kids get recruited for internships or jobs. They put the hat of the company they're going to or the t-shirt of the company they're going to. We thought we'd celebrate that. And then you participate in our enrichment programs and just generally a supportive district with a lot of successes of the students coming to the BOCES programs. That's what I have for you tonight. Questions, comments, anything I can answer?
we're good. Kevin, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Sharing everything with us, appreciate it.
Take care. Have a good night.
You too.
Jason,
Have a good
thank
night.
you. We'll see you later in the week. Bye, everybody.
All right, next up, Superintendent Smith, again, with your report.
Cam go first, and I always steal his thunder, so Cam, if you don't mind.
Oh, no, hey, look, Cam, it's all you, man.
Sorry, it's on this. I did not know. All right, good evening, everyone. On behalf of AP students everywhere, I can say that I'm thrilled to finally be done with exams, except for my whole college board thing that happened. Basically, like, they admitted to messing up their digital exam, but I'm kind of being forced to retake it right now, but I'm not going to get into that because I'm bitter about it. Anyway, I'd like to thank Ms. Garner, our AP coordinator, for being on top of this, as I just personally, as I just said, do not have the patience for it. Happy AP season, everybody. Regardless, my AP teachers have prepared myself and my peers extremely well for these exams, so thank you, Ms. Traver, Mr. Kraus, and Ms. Antonucci. We actually had a brief celebration in AP Lit. Surprise, Mr. Kraus, I know he actually reads these. To segue into our AP, into our public speaking unit. As Mr. Smith touched on, mock trial won our GLOW tournament and was honored at the Lions Club last week. We fell short in regionals, but we hope that the team continues to grow strong and maybe take home the win next year. Regardless, this is a huge achievement. I'd like to thank Ms. Traver and Ms. Marino for putting in so much effort and dedication to this group of students. The cast and Newsies attended Rochester Stars the Tomorrow event, performing a mix of King of New York and Once and For All. Octavia was recognized for multiple achievements, such as the dancing ensemble, set design, and more that I just cannot remember. Congratulations to all the cast, and a huge thank you to all the members of the production team, pit, and crew. Octavia's National Honor Society and Health Academy are expected to help out with the Lions School Special Olympics coming up at Bandetta Stadium. More information can be found online regarding how to support this event. I can't believe I put this in here based on what you just told me, Mr. Smith, but typically, while submitting these reports, Mr. Smith covers athletics, so I will abstain from athletic records for the sake of time. If they weren't covered, parentheses, my luck, then records can be found online.
As you're speaking, Cam, I checked out 2 things, so I'm glad I did.
See how it feels?
I'm glad I gave the chance, so, I actually have nothing to say on athletics other than senior week season is coming up, so if you want to steal that back from me, Cam.
I will next month.
Next month,
Yeah.
all right. So as Cam mentioned, the Stars of Tomorrow occurred Friday night. We received a number of awards. I want to recognize Cam and his cast and crewmates for doing a great job with the show. I don't think Cam listed all the awards, but I listed for now excellence in dancing, production crew, orchestra, production design, outstanding leads. Gavin Trippidy and Gus Crawford received some recognition as well. I was at the luncheon last week where the Mount Cloud team received the Charles Alvin Cuso Award. It was a great job that the team did. Cam, in my previous life, I was a mock trial advisor, so I can appreciate the pains that go through this. So nice job. Officer Borquette also received the Criminal Justice Award from Kiwanis last Thursday at the same banquet, so recognition to him. And June 10th is our annual prom, promise, and demo, which you're all welcome to come and watch. That's being coordinated by Officer Borquette and his colleagues. Last week, a new event at the high school, Ms. Westman and her team had a successful SEL night where we had about 100 families show up, more than an open house. It was very well received. There's some nice pictures on Facebook, so I want to recognize her and her team. Mr. Metler was instrumental in that as well. We have several students from the high school and the middle school received recognition at the Youth Recognition Award winners banquet a couple of weeks ago. I want to recognize those students: Xavier Williams, Maya Manuel, Stella Manuel from the middle school, and BHS Alyssa Turner, Grayson Fix, and Leland Manuel were also recognized in 2025. Spring concert season is underway. We have concerts this week and next week. I did attend the Tri-M Honor Society last week at the high school where we inducted some new members into the Music Honor Society. JK has launched their one book program, The Mouse and the Motorcycle. Feel free to read along with our students. We've had lots of appreciation weeks the last month or so. We had teacher appreciation, principal recognition on May 1st. Bus drivers and school nurses is this week, so thanks to all those staff members. And finally, this Saturday, one of our students, Bridget Nordee, who I met last week at a BEA luncheon, and her mom, is receiving her associate's degree from GCC, May 17th at 1 o'clock. She's receiving it in entrepreneurial studies, I believe. And she's participated in the early college program. She was at the BEA luncheon breakfast last Friday. She gave a wonderful presentation with her classmates, so she's going to be a college graduate before she's a high school graduate. on Saturday, May 17th at 1 o'clock. So I sat next to her mom, we had a great visit, and we can all be very proud of her, so. That's all I have. Cam, how do you do? Did it leave anything out, Cam?
I mean athletics, but I think we both kind of
We
messed
got it,
up.
okay. All right, fair enough. All right, that's all I have, thanks.
All right, let's see. All right, we're consent grouping. I would need a motion to approve the grouping of consent items. Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Ledbetter, can I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Roll. All in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. All right, let's see here. We got consent minutes.
New business.
New business. I got it. All right, new business. Policy updates reviewed by the policy committee with request to waive a second reading.
So that one, we looked with Barb, was here for that, we looked at our facilities use. We essentially memorialize a practice, whereas if, we try to give our school events priority, especially now with the weather, so we kind of put that in writing. Barb was part of that process. She had some questions about the dance studio. We're not getting those on the weekend, so we recognize that. Anything else to add to that? You're part of that.
No, it's really just codifying a current practice that we have.
Any questions on that?
All right, could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll give Ms. Bowman that one. Could I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Rio. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Number 2, resolution for the RIC-1 Risk Operations Center to authorize ROC to negotiate data privacy agreements with vendors and third-party contractors on behalf of Batavia City School District. Any questions?
So this is part of Ed Law 2D to make sure we don't release any confidential information to any of our vendors that we will, agreements added for transportation forms. Yeah, so that's why we have to have that in place. So as we update transportation forms and information, we have to make sure that both sides, the district and the third-party vendor, are obligated to not release anything confidential.
Okay, any questions then? No? All right, could I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Ledbetter, could I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Anderson? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right, let's see here. Next up would be discussion on other reports, the administrative reports for curriculum operations and business office. Those are all online, so please, at your leisure, take a look at those. Anybody have any board goal updates they want to share with anybody? Nothing? Nothing at this time? All right. Any board members have any comments?
I really enjoyed my time at the middle school. I don't know if it was exactly, it did meet a goal when I think about it. The interaction with the kids, watching the teachers teach, watching the enthusiasm of the kids and of the teachers. I wish I could pronounce her name correctly, but there is a math teacher there who has amazing enthusiasm. I was sitting there and I don't like math. Okay. And so I really enjoyed that. It was a full morning.
What age was the math teacher?
I believe it was kind of a mix because they were special ed kids. It was a blend, I believe. And it was totally enjoyable, and it was nice to see the kids responding well, and it was nice to see the teachers' enthusiasm. At Mrs. Miskell, okay, I'm murdering it, but she was just, her enthusiasm stood out to me out of everybody's.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Bart. Anything else?
Well, on Corinne's recommendation to go to an SEL session, I went to my school, JK, that I represent, and saw Melissa Antonor's SEL class. And it was just coming into, it was a fourth grade class, I believe. Well, I was there for 2 sessions. And she was teaching them some ways to get through the state testing that had been postponed, and they were going through it this next week, breathing exercises and focusing exercises. And I thought to myself, I really wished that I had had that when I was in grade school, you know, where you teach yourself how to calm down before a test and not be anxious and, you know, take your time and whatever. So I appreciated learning about SEL, and Mrs. Antonor is very engaged with her students, and it was a really good lesson.
Good. Anything else, anybody? No? All right, it's going to be a call for executive session. The board will not return to public session. The call for executive session, we'll need a motion to move to executive session to discuss matters relating to the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation, and collective negotiations. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Lembe, could I have a second?
Thank you.
Mr. Roll, all in favor? Aye.